Hello everyone, how's it going? And welcome to this very special Wild Rift video. I was lucky enough to be invited by Riot to the beta server. It is invite only, but it does give me access to all the new items, all the new runes, and also Kalista early before anyone else. So I can show you all a Kalista guide. I already did a rundown of all the new items and new runes. Make sure you check out my YouTube channel and subscribe for more patch 5.1 content. But I wanted to take this opportunity to give you all a Kalista guide early on. Talk you through all the builds, talk you through all the all the abilities, all the items you want to go for her and everything like that, and all the little tips and tricks for her. So you can save this video later on. There will be timestamps in the description as well if you want to head to any section of the video. And this is all in English as well, so I won't need to use Chinese translation or Google Translate or anything like that. This is all the exact English translation or the exact English description for each of her abilities. So Kalista is a new marksman coming to Wild Rift, a new AD carry as well, which as an AD carry main, I'm very excited. But she works very differently to other AD carries. She doesn't have an incredible amount of range, but she does have an incredible amount of mobility. And I think it will take some time for people to get used to, but I think once people get the hang of Kalista, she's going to be incredibly powerful. Right, let's first take a look at her abilities. First off is her passive, which is Martial Poise. There's a few parts to this passive, so let's go through each individual part. So the first part is when Kalista winds up her auto attack. When she starts her auto attack, you can move the joystick in any direction and it will cause her to dash for a short distance in that direction after she throws a spear. So you can stand still if you want to and auto attack just like this. You don't have to move in any direction if you don't move the joystick. Every single time that you move the joystick, you can see that you're going to dash in that direction. Left, right, forwards, backwards, any direction. You know, you can even go diagonal as well. Basically any direction that the joystick is going in when you auto attack, you're able to go in that direction. So if you really want to, you can go all 360 degrees all around a champion. And this is what I was talking about her mobility. Her mobility is going to be so insane. You're going to be able to dodge skill shots with this. You're going to be able to do some incredible things. Now, it seems like you're not able to jump over walls. I know that there was a thing in PC League at some time where you was able to jump over walls. It might even still be a thing where you can jump over walls in PC League. But it seems like, oh no, you can jump over some walls. So it seems to be only certain walls that you can jump over, and you can use this to your advantage. Like, look how powerful this is. It doesn't work on every wall. It seems to be only this wall that you can jump over, but look how powerful it is. I can auto attack over the wall, and if they flash away, I'm like, cool, I'm just going to jump over the wall and keep chasing you. Like, it's such a crazy mechanic, and it feels so good on mobile as well. It's very difficult to do on PC League with a mouse and keyboard, but on mobile, it feels smooth, it feels natural, and I think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really scary as well for anyone playing against Kalista, basically. Once also Kalista launches an attack, they cannot be cancelled. So she cannot cancel her auto attack. So when you're in that auto attack animation, you then can't cast an ability straight afterwards or flash or anything. You have to wait until your movement animation or your auto attack animation ends, and then you can use some of the spells and everything else afterwards. Now, there is also an item that Kalista starts with at the start of the game, and this is a O-Swarm. O-Swarm can be, you can choose an ally to become an O-Swarm, and Kalista cannot change her O-Swarm. Now, what does this item really mean? So this is the O-Swarm here. I mean, I'm in practice mode, so you can't see any allies, but you basically have the list of allies on that O-Swarm, and you could pick one ally on your team. It could be mid laner, top laner, jungler, support. It doesn't matter which one you choose, but which one you choose is going to be so important as we get later on, or even in the early game. I think 100% of the time you always want to go with your support. You're going to be laning with your support every single time. You're going to be with your support every single time, and it actually works with some of her other abilities as well. Her passive with her second ability means that you and your support can deal more damage to the same target if you auto attack pretty much at the same time or within a few seconds of each other. And also your ultimate means that you can grab the O-Swarm to either save them or go for engage as well, which I'll talk about a little bit later on with the other two abilities. But with this passive, just do this at the start of the game so you don't waste any time. You don't want to do this in the laning phase or anything, because you're basically standing still when you're channeling your passive. So you need to make sure that you just pick at the start of the game, click on this item and just say, okay, I want my support, and that's it. Your support is going to be the most important one to go for. And again, you can't change it, so you have to make sure you click on the right champion. But you'll be able to do this through, it'll benefit you throughout the game. It will allow you to deal more damage with your support and also save them. So Kalista's first ability, that was a passive all done. Kalista's first ability is Pierce. So it holds a spear, dealing physical damage to your first target hit. And if it kills the target, the spear continues onwards, carrying the target's rend stacks to the next enemy hit. This is going to be really important. There are a few really interesting tips I want to tell you about this ability. I'm just going to spawn some, I don't want to respawn monsters actually, I did not want to click that one. I want to spawn some minions. So your first ability is basically like a long range spear. You can do the same thing. You can just use this once and just not move at all. You can do the same thing with your passive, and as you can see, you can dash in any direction. So you can auto attack and then use your first ability to dodge an ability or anything else. You can do pretty much whatever you want. Did I not spawn minions? Oh, they are coming. But one tip I do want to give to you is this thing that they were talking about with if you last hit a minion or a champion with your first ability. So if you stack a few auto attacks onto this minion, for example, if I wait until this minion gets low, I can use my first ability, on that first minion, and then the rend stacks are going to move over to that enemy champion. I can do the same here. I can auto attack this minion a few times. When it goes low on health, I can use the first ability and it will go straight to the next minion or even the next champion. This just little tip that I just showed you is going to be so important, because your third ability does really well to last hit minions. But if you can't, you can use your first ability, and then all them stacks that you got with your rend are then going to travel to the next minion or to a champion. So this is a nice cool way for you to deal a little bit of damage in the early game. You can do this for a little bit of poke damage as well. Just make sure that the minion itself is low on health. You last hit the minion with your first ability, and then you line it up so then the champion is standing behind. So then you can use your third ability to either slow them or even try and stack more rend with your auto attacks and then deal a lot of damage. That's a little tip that I wanted you to see with your first ability. You can also probably do the same thing as well with your first ability. Yeah, you can also dash over the walls with your first ability as well. Like I said, I don't think it's every single wall. Like, this wall is kind of thick. It's kind of difficult to I think go over this wall and maybe over this wall as well. It's probably too difficult. Yeah, it's probably just very thin walls that you can go over. Not a lot of thick walls, unfortunately. Maybe this one is thin enough. This one looks thin enough. Yeah, you can jump over this wall. You can probably jump over this little wall. Yeah, it's only little thin walls that you can go over, but you can do the same with your auto attacks as it is with your first ability. That's the way you can really use your first ability as an option. So the second ability is Sentinel, probably one of Kalista's weakest abilities and probably kind of a useless ability sometimes. The passive is definitely not useless though. When the distance between Kalista and her O-Swarm, which is from her passive, which is why I said you need to make sure that your O-Swarm is your support, because you're going to be close to them throughout the whole game, is less than 8, so like 8 units, which is quite close to each other, and both hit the same target within 4 seconds, using attacks or pierce, Kalista deals a percentage of the target's maximum health as bonus damage. So Kalista is able to do more damage if the support walks up and auto attacks, and then if you auto attack afterwards. This also makes it as well that Kalista works incredibly well with more tank supports and more supports that like to engage, because these sort of benefits that you get with both the passive and also Sentinel, and you'll see later on with her ultimate, but it just makes it so powerful. So the support can engage and auto attack, and then you can follow up with your first ability or auto attack afterwards and deal more damage, which is so powerful. And then the active sends a Soul Sentinel to patrol an area, and upon spotting an enemy champion, the Sentinel follows them for 4 seconds, revealing them, and also the Sentinel disappears after patrolling 3 laps. Now, the second ability is... It's okay. I think it still has its benefits. You can see you also gain a charge every 30 seconds if you really want to. As you can see, there's not that much range with the second ability. There's not that much that you can really do with your second ability. Now, the best way to use your second ability is if you're going for any objectives, like say you're going for Dragon or you're going for Baron, and you can use the Sentinel to have a look where the jungler is. You can see here the Sentinel goes all the way up and comes all the way back. It always goes in a straight line. The only way it won't go into a straight line if you're using a Sentinel over a wall. So say for example, I'm going for the blue buff here and I'm using a Sentinel. You can see the Sentinel will go all the way around to that target location. So there are different ways in which you can use the Sentinel to your benefits, like that for example was able to check that bush. basically the sentinel will always go to the outside part of the ability. So wherever it needs to go through terrain, through everything else, it will get to that spot and then it will come back again. As I said, it doesn't cover a huge distance though, because if you're playing in the bot lane, say you're auto attacking here, you're fighting, you can see here that it can really only go up to check this bush and that's it. But it's still beneficial, I think, to check bushes instead of going to face check, instead of going to actually walk up and risk yourself dying or getting caught. You can just use your second ability to check the bush, and obviously it will spot them out. And when it does spot someone out, you can see there it will make a noise and it will reveal them for a few seconds. That's exactly how it works. Like I said, nothing that really benefits Kalista herself with the active. Again, the passive is pretty good, but the active not so much, just for a little bit of vision. Now, for the most important ability, we have Rend. Rend is going to be the winning condition really for Kalista, and the difference between winning or losing a game as Kalista. Again, so many little tips that I want to show you with Rend, where you can apply it on things like minions and champions at the same time, etc. But let's get straight into it. Passive: on hit, Kalista's spear lingers in the target for 4 seconds, applying a stack of Rend. So when you auto attack, you saw little spears that stayed in the target for a few seconds. They are from Rend. And then what you can do, if a champion has range, and if you're in range, or a champion has a spear in them and you're in range with Rend, you can then activate Rend as an ability. So Kalista rips the spear out from the enemy from the nearby enemies, dealing physical damage and also slowing enemy champions as well for a few seconds. Now, if the ability kills at least one target, its cooldown is refreshed and it refunds 30 mana. Now, it won't refund 30 mana in the early game. You can see there, only refunds 12 mana in the early game. But the big thing is that the cooldown will be refreshed and the refund will still be there as well. Even in the early game, it will refund about half of your mana. You're going to max this ability first anyway, so you're going to get up to that 30 mana very, very quickly. But again, I'm going to spawn some minions here kind of to show you what you can do with Kalista's third ability. Now, as you can see, you can stack multiple spears on multiple enemy champions, just like that. And you can use your third ability whenever you want to. Now, as it mentions, if you do not kill the enemy champion or the enemy just in general, like a minion or a monster, it will go on cooldown for 7 seconds. However, you can use this ability on a minion and then also a champion to basically deal free damage. So if I auto attack this minion a few times and get the Rend stack, then I auto attack this champion. When the minion goes low enough in health, you see there, I was able to get the minion low enough on health that I can kill the minion with the Rend, which gives me the cooldown and a mana regen, but I still also have spears on the champion as well. So I can do, say here, can a minion, champion, boom. Kills a minion and then also deals free damage to the champion. This is one of the most basic tips that I can give you with Kalista when it comes to the laning phase. You can also stack this on multiple minions as well and do the exact same thing. So I'm going to stack a few times on this kind of minion, auto attack this champion a few times as well, this target, and then boom, there you go, a little bit of damage there. And you can also combo that with your first ability and everything else. But just doing a simple tip like that and just doing a simple combo like that, where you auto attack the minions and auto attack the champions, the only thing you need to be careful of is obviously if you get caught by any sort of crowd control or anything. But if you're able to auto attack the minions a few times and then you're all able to auto attack a champion, then it becomes really, really powerful. Now, the third ability also has an amazing synergy with Runan's Hurricane, because with Runan's Hurricane, you're able, let me get rid of these minions, you're able to use every single bolt for Runan's Hurricane with your third ability. Let me just buy Runan's Hurricane and I'll quickly show you if we get back to lane a little bit quicker. Just use my flash a few times. Runan's Hurricane, obviously, as you know, as an item, is able to spread auto attacks, and normally it doesn't really work with other abilities on champions, as we've seen before. But with Kalista, as you can see, every single auto attack will put a spear to 3 nearby enemies, so whether they're minions, whether they're monsters in the jungle, or whether they're champions. And this is why this is such a core item for Kalista. Imagine you're in a team fight, everyone is super close together, you're playing Kalista, you're jumping around, and you're putting a spear on 3 nearby champions every single time. If you kill a champion and then slow other enemy champions, that is going to make a huge difference for Kalista and just for the game in general. So really cool thing with Rend, you know, as I mentioned, you know, being able to know when to use this ability, when minions drop low on health. It also really helps when last hitting minions as well. You don't have to worry too much about actually hitting the minion and last hitting it. You can just use the ability, refund the cooldown, and refund a little bit of your mana. So it helps with last hitting, it helps with dealing a little bit of damage during the laning phase, and also it works incredibly well with items such as Runa's Hurricane with the great synergy. Now for the final ability, we have her ultimate. I won't be able to show this ultimate the same because it's just with her O-Swarm, but I'll release a gameplay tomorrow for Kalista. Unfortunately, there's no public games, but I can just play bot games, so I can show you how all the abilities work, but that gameplay will come out tomorrow. Fate Core. So Kalista puts her O-Swarm into stasis and draws them to herself for up to 4 seconds. So you can basically grab your support whenever you want to and use this ability, and it will be, and basically they will be inside of you, so they can't be attacked, they can't be focused or anything like that. Then what they can do is the O-Swarm, so the champion that you grabbed with the O-Swarm, whether it's your support or jungler or whatever one else, can launch themselves in a direction, knocking enemies airborne for a few seconds, and upon hitting the first enemy, the O-Swarm will then ricochet for a distance based on their attack range. So when you use your ultimate, you're going to grab the support towards you, and then what they can do is they can pick any direction in which they want to dash to. They can either use it to dash away, to go away to safety, or they can dash forward to actually work as an engage tool. And this is why I was mentioning why engage supports Alistar, Nautilus, Brom, you know, any sort of champions that love to be in melee range and have a lot of crowd control. They work incredibly well with Kalista because you can use your ultimate as an engage tool instead of as a safety net. You can use it as a safety net if you want to, but using it as an engage tool just makes it so much more powerful because you can use it and then your support will obviously be right in front of you. Then you can auto attack and use your abilities from a distance. You know, Alistar, for example, when you throw them in, Alistar can use the pulverize and headbutt the champion back into your team. Brom can use the ultimate from melee range. So many different combinations that you can use with tank and engage supports. Again, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you, but yeah, that's basically it because I can't, obviously I'm in practice mode. But again, I'll release a gameplay tomorrow. You'll see how the ability in the ultimate works. That will be in tomorrow's video. In terms of combos, there is no combos for Kalista. Put it straight and simple, there is no combos for Kalista. Like I said, the only thing with Kalista is that there are a few tips and tricks. You know, there's a few tips and tricks with kind of combining your minion damage and also your champion damage. You know, using your first ability to go through a minion that dies onto a champion. Again, stacking multiple champions and multiple minions with your third ability. They're all the really tips and tricks that I can give you. There's no real combos. You know, you need to make sure you use your third ability at the right time, your first ability at the right time. Your second ability doesn't really count towards combos, and obviously your ultimate as well, you can just use to engage or disengage. There's no real combos that really happen with Kalista. Like I said, it's more to do with her playstyle and timing of her abilities. Now let's take a look at her leveling order. I don't think a lot of people will be surprised with her leveling order. At level 1, you want to go for your third ability. Of course, it will help you last hit minions. It will help you do a little bit of damage to enemy champions overall, and just overall is a great ability. Then you can go for your first ability to get a little bit of extra damage with her spear if you can really get it in the early game, and then go for your second ability. Really important actually to use your second ability or get your second ability quite early on, because you can use this for vision in the early game. If you don't have any wards in the river, you can just use this. You use the second ability up in the river or up towards a blue buff or a red buff. Then use that towards vision to see where the jungler is and see what side of the jungle the enemy jungler is. Then you want to make sure you max your third ability. Again, no surprise that you're maxing your third ability here, because it's, again, in my opinion, the big difference between winning and losing game with Kalista. So you want to max your third ability, max your first ability, and then max obviously your second ability, because your second ability doesn't actually give you any damage or anything like that. It's just for the sentinels. That's why we wait for that ability last. And obviously make sure you level up your ultimate when it is available. So that's everything with Kalista in the actual game. Let's quickly quit out of this game, and I'm going to show you the build that we're going to be running with Kalista. Again, I do have the new item, so I can show you the item build for Kalista when she does release. I hope that she releases on the 11th of April, because I'm really excited to play her, and I think she's going to be an incredibly fun AD carry to play. But this is going to be the build for Kalista. Berserker's Grease first. A lot of people say, and also myself, I say that Gluttonous Greaves is better boots than Berserker Greaves. However, the big thing is that Kalista loves attack speed. She loves on hit, she loves attack speed, because with attack speed, it means that she can move faster as well with her passive. So she can auto attack, she can move faster with her attack speed, and that's why we go for Berserker Greaves over Gluttonous Greaves. And also because we have a lot of healing in our kit as well anyway. Blade of the Ruined King, obviously now a ruined item in patch 5.1. You are going to lose a little bit of HP, but to be honest with you, 60 to 150 HP is not really too much. I mean, if you're that low on HP anyway, you're probably already dead. But the extra physical vamp you get, the extra bonus damage that you get as well from the Rune Strikes passive, and also the Drains passive, means that you can steal 40% of their movement speed. So it means that you can stay within auto attack range with Kalista, you can keep stacking up her spears as well over time, and then they're going to find it really, really difficult to escape, because you're going to get more movement speed and they're going to get less movement speed. So you can just kite around and just be such a nuisance with Blade of the Ruined King. As I mentioned, Ruinous Hurricane is incredible for Kalista. The extra bolts from the Wind's Fury passive works with Kalista's passive, or works with Kalista's third ability, I should say, and applies a spear to the 3 nearby enemies. So you can use this to easily wave clear. You can wave clear super quickly with this. You can also stack it a lot during team fights as well. So overall, a great item for Kalista. Terminus, the new item, again another core item for Kalista. Attack damage, attack speed, we got the attack speed, the magic damage, sorry, on hit, and then with the other passive, it's going to give us the armor pen that we need for Kalista. So that extra bit of armor pen that we're going to be getting with Kalista, you can see there, dark attacks grant 4% armor pen for 3 seconds on hit, and each effect can stack up to, it says 5 times, but it is only going to be 3 times. So you can get 12% armor pen very quickly, and this replaces your armor pen item. You don't need to go Mortal Reminder anymore. You don't need to go for a crit item anymore, or any crit items at all. Your Terminus will be your armor pen item, because this will stack up over time. So it's going to be super important against tanks and everything else, but again, the item is just incredibly powerful. Bloodthirster, I think overall is just a really strong item. I think it's really a no-brainer for Kalista. More physical vamp, because she is quite a low range champion, so it'll be really impactful. A lot of attack damage, the extra attack speed as well when you are above 50% HP. There are a few other item choices that you can go for instead of Bloodthirster. I've got Wit's End here. If you get a lot of magic damage, then Wit's End is also very good. I do want to test out Nash's Tooth as well. I'm not too sure if this is going to be too much on hit or not, but I think it could still be very good. But yeah, Wit's End against magic damage, really good, but Bloodthirster overall just a standard basic item. And Guardian Angel is a core item for Kalista. It's super core for Kalista, because the big thing, like I said, is that she's going to be in melee range a lot. She's kind of like Samira in a way, where she's going to be very close to enemy champions. So you need to make sure that you build Guardian Angel to keep yourself alive. And speaking of keeping yourself alive as well, QSS is also going to be a very important option for the boots upgrade, because with Quicksilver, you're able to stop any crowd control that's coming your way. Now, if you get CC'd by Kalista, with Kalista, then it's going to be very difficult to escape. If you get hit by like Nautilus ulti or anything else, it's going to be very difficult to escape, because then you're going to be slowed, your auto attacks are going to be slowed, and it's going to be very difficult for you to move away and use your movement from your passive to benefit you a lot. However, if you use QSS, you can just stay in the fight, you can keep auto attacking, keep moving around the fight, and not worry about any sort of crowd control. As for the runes, Lethal Tempo, again, very strong rune, gives us a lot of attack speed, which, as I mentioned already, attack speed works incredibly well with Kalista because of her movement from her passive. Brutal for the extra on hit damage, very nice. Giant Slayer, again, going to be very powerful against tanks and bruisers in the meta. Legend Bloodline, you can go for Legend attack speed, Legend Alacrity for the attack speed, but we already have so much attack speed in our kit, and we're building 3 attack speed items, well 4 technically if you count the boots, in our build. So I like the extra Omnivamp really from Legend Bloodline. And again, another really cool thing is that Sudden Impact actually works with Kalista's passive. So every single time that you are dashing with Kalista from her passive, you will get Sudden Impact. This means throughout the whole game, you are going to get 13 armor pen. You don't need to do too much. All you need to do is auto attack and move. You auto attack and you dash with your passive, you will get Sudden Impact. So again, an incredibly strong rune for Kalista, and I think it's going to be incredibly powerful for her. And then for the summer spells, we of course have Flash and Exhaust. Since we are quite close and in melee range, again, Exhaust is going to be very powerful. that is everything for Kalista. I went as in-depth as possible with this guide. Like I said, I want to give you all a head start with Kalista, because the champion should hopefully be coming out on the 11th of April, which is only 1 week's time. So really, really close now to patch 5.1. Let me know what you think of Kalista down in the comments. If you have any questions as well, please let me know in the comment section. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next wild video. Peace.